Hello, everyone. This is Danny Hafen, broadcasting again with my friend Visions. Game 2 of Columbia versus uh, University of Texas Dallas. And last game was a stomp, but I believe that they have it in them to bring it back and make a better show.
Yeah, they definitely, I think, need to draft maybe a little bit more comfort. Not sure what their comfort is, but I definitely think that the series isn't over by any means, and they need to make sure that they have that mindset. They need to have the mentality that this game's not over, that they still can come back, that they can win game 2, and then go to game 3 and take the momentum there. I really want to see them, like I said last game, come in with a lot of confidence, make sure that they're still being proactive and making good shot calls. But yeah, really excited for the draft. Curious to see how it ends up turning out this time.
I am too. I want to quickly touch on what Visions and I am doing here. We are watching the Collegiate Championship live with no noise and producing our own broadcast for our own pleasure to prove to ourselves, friends, and others that we can do this and make something great happen for your entertainment and for your understanding of League of Legends and how big it really is in the world these days.
Absolutely. And to jump right into it, it looks like we are going to have Kaisa as well as Aurelia taken off. I'm curious to see if we're also going to have the Yasuo maybe taken off the board because we really saw Stumpy take over the game with that and got plenty of good team fights in, as well as he was just unstoppable on the sideline.
It was. He had an incredible fight when he TP'd in River at one point, got a triple kill. Julian took the fourth there, and it is difficult to say what what Texas Dallas has to do to come back and win, other than saying will win is we're going to step it up and not fall to Stumpy this time in the 1v1. But the other thing that you can bring up is faith. Getting caught out, giving the first blood to Julian, losing the tempo for his team could be a complete game changer. And we do see the Yasuo ban. Last time we saw the Varus first pick. Will we see it again?
Yeah, it's potential. We could see it again. Like it seemed to work out, although it didn't seem like bot lane was the huge priority last game. But, ultimately Columbia ended up securing the first turret, but it didn't seem like the main priority. It definitely seemed like the priority was more towards top side. That's where the first blood went down. The solo lanes is where a lot of the action went down. But however, the Varus does come through again.
Uh, the question is, will they try to... Well, they didn't take the advantage of getting rid of that Sejuani. It seemed to be very comfort for Bulkzak, and Sejuani was in the meta as the dominant jungler for almost 8 months, so it's understandable how comfortable he'd be on it. But they took the Trundle, and they are trying to decide if they want their support or a different lane this time.
Yeah, and they're going to take the Braum this time rather than the Tarek. So maybe bringing a little bit more CC. And they also do have the Trundle Ultimate, which will be able to shred pretty hard if they are drafting quite a few tanks. And it looks like we might see the Skarner come out rather than the Sejuani this time. Honestly, the only reason I think they might do it is just because of the Trundle. You can pressure her a little bit harder. But I would honestly still like to see the Sedge. But however, the Skarner is locked through. And then we do have Julian's pick now, which I don't think we're going to see a mid laner just yet. Most likely the support will come through.
So the crowd might be asking, where are his grades? Why is he not here? He was very prevalent in the end of MSI. He was prevalent in the Demacia Cup. He's been dominating in solo queue. Why is he not here? Something to consider is these colleges are the remaining 8 of 300 different teams. And they've been playing for the last 2 months or more. And they've been playing on older patches where Graves wasn't good. They have had so many games and so much scrims, they might not be ready to switch over to Graves at this point, and instead relying on the comfort and consistency of the Trundle and Skarner that we saw so prevalent in the LCS and European finals a few months back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point to touch on. The comfort not being comfortable with a champion like that, even though we got to see it a lot. Now, moving forward, we are going to see Ezreal picked up, which means a little bit more mobility and also a little bit more of a mid-game power spike to match the Varus rather than going with an ADC that doesn't hit a 3-item spike. So maybe drafting a bit earlier across the lanes, and we are going to see the Rise band come through, the Ori, so maybe putting on something, getting Julian on something different. However, his Cassiopeia is still up, and I'm curious to see if he actually ends up picking.
I really appreciate the Vladimir band there. Texas Dallas wants to try to counterpick both top and mid, but they can't. They're red side. The Vladimir would have allowed them to have a little bit more flexibility because of its duality as a mid laner or top laner. And here we see the Mundo, that a solo queue terror that has been happening over and over again. And this Twitch, it must be something Evan does because he likes to... Wait, never mind. No, okay.
Yeah, I think
it hasn't been.
Hovers it. I think that's right. Yeah, it hasn't been locked in. I think it might be something he's comfortable with, but yeah, not something he's going to take in.
Because he already
taken for him.
Yeah, he did that last game, and I wasn't fooled last game, but then this game, the picking icon disappeared. I swear it wasn't there for 4 seconds. The computer must be smarter than me. I hate to admit it.
And we are actually going to see, this is very interesting. So Fiora as well as Sion is going to be locked in for Colombia. So that should be a mid lane Sion. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they actually end up bringing. This is a lot of tanks. So this is basically going to be a peel for Evan. So this really is basically turned into the Evan show. Letting him be the actual carry of this game. However, we can still see Stumpy take over with the Fiora like he did last game. And it looks like they could technically flex the Mundo as well as the Trundle. However, I most likely think it will be Mundo top.
So I just want to touch on Dr. Mundo real fast. He's been a solo queue terror, but some people don't understand why he is so difficult and dangerous. Of course, he had his ultimate sadism buffed a little while back, allowing him to heal so much, so fast, so often. But the other was a buff that happened about 6 months ago to his machoism, giving it a passive that makes it so whenever he does damage to himself via spell, or does damage to an enemy with a spell, he gains percent max magic resist, up to 30% at rank 5 if he has gotten enough stacks stacked up. It makes it so incredibly difficult to kill him, as well as the tenacity he gains with his burning orbs circling him. But Fiora is a tank killer. Fiora does true max health percent damage, and with lifesteal can keep up with that in the 1v1 in the late game, no problems.
Absolutely, and as the Fiora, I mean, like, this is someone that can do the same thing like he did last game with the Yasuo. Stumpy can take over, and I'm curious to see how that matchup's going to go. I would really like to see Faith do a little bit more early pressure this game. He had the Olaf last game, but he didn't actually do much with it. He gave first blood over to Julian, so I'm curious to see what he can do with this Trundle, see if he can maybe pressure some kind of summoner, whether it's top, middle, whatever he can do. I would really like to see him do something a little bit more, but ultimately we're hopping into game 1, and this is going to be elimination for Texas Dallas. This is what it's going to come down to, and I cannot wait to see if they can actually fight back a bit. Double teleports actually down for Evan and for John, so this is going to be a MSI type of meta with the teleports. But overall, cannot wait to see how this is gonna play out.
Once again, this is 8.9. The banner minions cannot be damaged by magic damage. So this Azir last pick is going to have a rough time versus a Banner of Command Rush from Julian. And I fully suspect that that pressure will evolve into early tower takes, early dragons, and Faith being forced out of his jungle.
Absolutely. And to go forward, it looks like we are going to have both junglers start on the bottom side again. However, It looks like Trundle's just not going to get not going to get a leash. He looks like he's just going to solo it, get his bot lane there, a little bit early priority for level 2. And Stumpy's taking on quite a bit of damage from the Mundo, from the cleaver.
Current health damage, and so it's quite effective, though there is a minimum base damage as well to it, so you're not going to only do 10 damage with a cleaver if you hit them when they're at 100 life.
Yeah, and actually, lots of trades going through. We can see a lot of solo laners going extremely low, and this is a early back coming out of Will. I'm not sure if he
has no items. He forgot to buy.
Oh my god. Wow, that's a big whoopsie. That is a big whoopsie. Wow, no items. That's got to be you got to be looking at your teammate. You got to make sure you don't tilt off that, because that's actually really big. The TP's blown early, and this is a Fiora.
So something I want to touch on is the runes chosen, and summoners. I super appreciate Dean's choice in Spellbook, so he can go cleanse at about 10 minutes into this game.
Oh, Julian going really low.
Sorry,
go ahead.
It's okay. He's not scared at all. Besides, he could have just gone zombie and got the kill back. I'm sure of it. He's sure of it. Maybe.
Yeah, and we're going to see a pillar coming through. Going to be a flash of a Stumpy. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Faith come up here or go somewhere where he's blowing some kind of a summoner, putting pressure on these lanes. I love to see that. That is great. And right now, this is looking really good for Dallas because they have pressure in the mid lane and they have pressure in the top lane now that the flash is down. So great play by Faith.
Very good play. Going back to the runes and summoner choices, I am disappointed that Keen has decided to run Ignite instead of Exhaust. With the 1-4 split push that they are planning to run, Columbia, if Evan is exhausted, what are they going to do for damage? They have no damage. Where Texas has the Trundle damage, the Azir damage, the Ezreal damage. They could have won those fights, but instead he goes Ignite, which is only good against the lifesteal of the Fiora, who won't be there. It doesn't affect the gray skin of the Tom Kench. It's a selfish choice, which I feel will cost them dearly later. Might not cost them the game, but will cost them difficulties.
Absolutely, it will. And lots of pressure going on the case now. And this is, we're in a situation where Faith has a bit of early pressure, and, Zach's going to be kind of scaling up. So how do you see this early game going? And do you think Faith should just constantly attack this like he's doing right now and maybe setting up for the dive? This should be a kill going over. Flash. Oh, my. Oh, my God. And whoa, that was really, really bad played right there. Faith thought he actually had the kill, but as we talk about that, Julian's going to get jumped on. But we're going to have 3 people in the mid lane right now. We're going to see the E coming out. Looks like they're going to put him right into the knockup. There should be a kill being secured right there. Ignite's going to come through, going over to Julian right there. Really well played by them. And overall, we're going to have a 2-1 across the board. But that kill going back over to Stumpy, that should not have happened. That should not have happened.
It should not have all. It was a failed execution. I like the idea. Stumpy carried so hard. Get him to tilt. Get confidence on your team with the kills. But
like the auto, he could have autoed there. Like he could have flash autoed, and he would have walked out, and he would have been fine. And then we're gonna see the play here. This was just 3 people showing up in the mid lane. Really well played. And Keen's going to get eaten up. He had the flash available, and then we're just going to get chain CC'd. Really, really well played by them. And it's another kill going over to Columbia. Snowballing the early game, just like they did last game.
So, something to point out is Mundo has already gone the Bramble Vest, which will help versus the healing. Oh, we have a fight already, and Dean uses that flash.
Dean's going to flash out of there, all as well. Really nice setup, knowing that he's probably going to sit there and ward that. But really well played by them to make sure they blow that summoner.
What I was talking about with that Bramble Vest is the healing from Fiora is significant. To be able to cut that early will help, will win. try to get the pressure he wants in this lane with this solo Q terror. It's much more cost detrimental for Stumpy to buy the Executioner's Calling to try to stop the healing from the Mundo than it is for the Bramble Vest. And so hopefully we can see that lane progress, and we have a fight here in the bot lane.
Yeah, we're going to see a bit of a scrap. Everything's fine. The stun didn't land right away onto Dean, but now we're going to have a fight in the top lane. Stumpy's going to get him really low. Wilwin might be in a bit of trouble here. He's going to be running extremely low. He's going to walk out, though, and he's going to be okay. But really close there. Neither flash is available for both players. And Wilwin's going to heal back up there. And I believe the ultimate was used by Fiora, so there should be a little bit less kill pressure there now.
Both ultimates down. Sadism's move speed becoming critical to stop Stumpy from finishing off with his ultimate. And that will be basically the fight over and over again in that top lane.
Yeah.
Can Fiora proc her ultimate?
And I believe, yeah, Zach is in the bush here, and he's look like he's going to find one. And this should be John's going down. He's going to get taken out. But as we talk about that, Julian's maybe in a tough spot. I think he does have the ultimate available. He's going to flash. Pillar's going to block him. Looks like they might be looking for the turn, but he should be okay. He's going to walk out, and just the one kill will go down. That's John's missing the wave and being taken down. And I believe that kill went over to, I think it went over to Dean, I believe.
It did. He licked him to death. A terrible fate to be eaten by a catfish. But it's also a terrible fate to be killed by a raging doctor of Dr. Mundo. And will that happen this game? I hope so. I want to see a strong Dr. Mundo, and I want to see a team work together to defeat that solo Q terror that my team can never seem to do. But really nice, Julian. Not even using his ultimate there, he just faked it, forcing the pillar, and he still has that cooldown for use later to roam top or mid.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting himself in a tight spot, managing to get out, which was good. Now he should get the blue buff so he can constantly push this wave into case. And actually that went over to Zach, so unfortunately it did not go over to Julian. So just a bit of damage that didn't actually go over to him. So unfortunate. You hate to see that, as Case actually has the blue buff.
And it's interesting to see Julian decide to go the Abyssal Mass over the Adaptive Helm with how much damage will be coming consistently from the Azir. I guess he's just doing it because it has an earlier power spike, and he wants to be able to survive lane and get to his banner of command sooner. And the Catalyst is a much better buy to sit on than the pieces of the Adaptive Helm.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to basically minimize the Azir as much as he can. And it looks like this is going to be an Infernal Drag that should go over to Columbia. I don't think Dallas is going to try and contest this. Should be secured, and that will go over to them. So that's going to be the first dragon being an Infernal secured by Columbia. And we're going to have just a regular reset back to the lanes. But that's a dragon you'll love to see and love to get early.
It will be extremely effective on Fiora, on Varus, and they are just not giving Texas a chance to breathe. Really brave of Case holding and the summoners there, but he did have his ultimate, and Zach would have been doomed had he gone in. But sometimes with the nerves, you don't think that all through in the 0.2 seconds you have to make the decision.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he actually didn't decide to stop his back. I'm not sure if he maybe was just shopping and wasn't looking, or if he actually just decided to hold. But yeah, he had the ultimate, and he had the summoners. I think if he ended up Zach going for that, probably would have went down. And we're just gonna have Case back pushing this wave back in, and he's gonna soon be working towards his first item. But pretty normal early game overall. Looks like the Rift should be secured by Columbia here. I don't think that Texas is going to try, or Dallas is going to try and contest it at all. It should just be going over to Columbia, and we're just going to have regular lanes being pushed in. And Stumpy may be in a tough spot here.
His flash is up.
Get over the wall. Zach's also here for the counter gank. He has his ultimate. They might be looking for more. They're going to be landing lots of damage, but not going to find anything just yet. But the Rift is going to reset.
I think it was very wise of Zach to abandon the rift and to be there for the fight.
Absolutely.
It was the right choice, though somewhat annoying. Good ultimate from Julian there to get out of harm's way and become unstoppable.
Yeah,
What I
making sure he doesn't get sunned up. Go ahead, sir.
It's okay. Uh, One of the things I was going to note on is even though there is a 2-kill lead for Colombia, they're only up 700 gold. The kleptomancy from Ezreal, the CS advantage in the mid lane, these things are making it so Texas can get to that late game, get to where Azir can 1v5 the whole team. Once again, that is a really fast proc of the Rift Herald. It was done by Faith last time. It was done by Boltzak this time. I do not approve. Get more setup. Get a better use. Such a low tower, but there could have been more.
Yeah, it just seems like they're just kind of deciding on the fly, like, let's drop the Rift Herald. They did that last game. I mean, they do end up getting it. I mean, I guess it does lead into a second turret here, so I guess it's not the worst. So two turrets secured, which is going to increase their gold lead quite a bit more. Actually, maybe even 3. So maybe the Rift Herald, it should have probably had more setup, but ultimately 3 towers going down just like that, and that's going to be a huge gold spike right there for Colombia.
And I want to see Stompy use that huge gold spike to buy the Executioner's Calling or the Black Cleaver so he has a little bit more sticking power to the Mundo. One of those two would work best. Don't try to finish a different item. It won't be as effective. You won't get the kills or the side lane dominance that you need. Since you were such an effective player last game, you want to do that again. You want to show dominance and make other teams fear you and triple ban you. They're so scared in this tournament.
Yeah, and as we actually look towards this mid lane, Case is, kind of a person that we have our eyes on. We talked about Julian, hyping him up, but Julian's not the carry of this game. He's simply just bringing utility and peel and just being a nuisance with all of his CC. But we look at Case, and Case is someone who can take over this game when he starts to hit some of his items. I really want to see him step up. I want to see him really push and win this game too so that they can force a game 3. I think it's really going to come down to him, as Ezreal's not going to be putting out as much DPS, but is going to be a little bit more mobile. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Case to perform this game, and I'm kind of glad that he's taking the pressure. And so far, he's doing pretty well, and he hasn't actually died, which is quite a big difference from last game.
That is very true. I'm glad Zach has not bought a second Balming Cinders this game. That's an improvement. We've seen
improvement.
2 obvious mistakes
here. Julian's going to be on to Wilwin. Wilwin's going to flash out. He's going to have the ulti, so he should be able to get out okay. A few summoners blown for each team, but ultimately, all is well.
A little early of a Ignite from Dean. They didn't have the CC lock to hold him down to cast that, but I understand the sentiment. You don't want him healing up if the fight does go your way. But at this point, Colombia just needs to keep starving them out, keep pushing. That 3 tower spike was incredibly effective. They have the banner. Only the Ezreal and the Trundle can kill it effectively. They have the Gunsu's Rage Blade power spike. It'll be a while till Ezreal gets his 2-item power spike, and just keep pressuring. Just keep the gold coming into you and not into them, and let them worry constantly about stomping like they did last game, and you'll win this game. No doubt about it for Colombia, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have to do with the Dragon coming out, which is going to help quite a bit with objectives. I mean, this is a team that also can shred Baron quite fast. Both teams can actually shred Baron quite fast. So this Mountain Dragon is actually quite important. So both teams might have their eye on it. However, I think Colombia just has the priority because of the turrets being down. So they should be able to just walk over here, secure it. And it looks like they're going to get it unless Ezreal gets some kind of a snipe.
I don't think that's going to happen. They seem to have no vision. It would be blind. Now, there's an interesting thing. I talked about how Dean has Summoner Spellbook, and I wanted him to go Cleanse. At this point, He does not feel threatened at all. He doesn't feel that his team is threatened while he is close. He is building 3 magic resist cloaks already in his build for the Azir, and he's just keeping that at Ignite to stop the Mundo, so nobody else on his team needs to get the healing reduction if they have that big 5v5. So that's what League of Legends is. It's just a game of math, it is a game of choices, and in-the-moment decisions that can make or break your team. I would have always said, go cleanse, go cleanse. Stopping and thinking, I like what Dean has chosen to do. Though I do not like this Trinity Force. Stompy, why did you go with it? I told you, Black Cleaver.
Yeah, I would have, the Executioner calling would have been nice too, with that gold lead, but I guess he was just trigger happy on completing the Triforce. But it looks like he's actually going to go really aggressive, going to get another tower going down, and will win in just a position where he can't stop him. He hasn't actually picked up his first item yet, but there's nothing he can really do against this. Inevitably, it's just going to be Fiora, Stompy, putting on the show, slowly knocking down and putting damage on these turrets.
And here's that Banner of Command minion. Azir can 1v5, he just can't 1v1 a Banner minion.
No, exactly. And this might be some more damage going down. Our case is actually pretty low. Faith is kind of lurking in the back here, trying to see if he can find anything. But looks like they are just going to walk out. Tahm Kench ulti was used there, but nothing made out of it.
So something we haven't touched on this game is the amount of globals Columbia has between the extra teleport mid lane and the Abyssal Voyage of Tahm Kench. It allows them to get everywhere they need to be so quickly. It allows them to rotate and to get the jungle and keep this pressure up, and they're using it beautifully, where I haven't seen Jones even use his teleport yet. And even if he tries to go to a side lane, he can't take on the Fiora, he can't kill the Scion. What is he going to do but clear the wave and then try to get to the fight in time? It's not looking practiced enough to be brought into this game at this stage when it was on the line, win it or be done.
Yeah, it's almost like it was just basically something that was picked just because that's what Evan was basically doing, and that's what the meta is. But if you're not familiar with it, or if you're not utilizing it correctly, then it's almost best just not to go with it and just go with the regular summer spell, go with heal, something that's a little bit more common, and just go forward with that. But yeah, we talk about the global pressure, and there is quite a bit, and we all remember that play from MSI where there was a triple TP bot lane from the ADC, from the top, and from the mid, and they ended up turning the fight on King Zone. And you got to think if something like that can happen again, where they can get across the map just like that. If maybe there's a fight bottom and then everyone TP's top for Nash or something along those lines. But looks like we do have an ultimate coming up here top. Is it going to be Sion going hard on Case? Case is going to try and get out. The ultimate is going to come through, going to push him back. But now we also have more damage coming through. Faith and Keen. Keen blocking as much damage as he possibly can. No one's going to go down just yet, though. Turret is going to be still alive for now. Might go down. Is going to go down. Secured by the banner minion.
And Azir just raises a new one and says, we're not leaving this place yet, but Columbia got what they want. They got the gold, and they made use of the Abyssal Voyage, and now Dean is feeling slightly more scared for his own life and has decided to run the cleanse. I appreciate the decision-making there, especially with the damage Evan is bringing, though I'm not sure if I would have said to go the full AP Varus this game, just because of the amount of natural magic resist that Amundo can get with his Mutualism passive.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, as we go forward with this game, though, we can see Columbia just slowly bleeding out Dallas. They're getting turret after turret. It's now 5-0 for as far as turrets, and now they have their eyes on the Baron. That could be something they could potentially get because they have the side lane pressure in the bot lane. So you got to think, like, is this just going to be something they slowly bleed them out and end up winning the game? When's the point where Dallas tries to fight back or tries to pull the trigger and tries to look for something to get back into this game?
pull the trigger with what? They have no hard engage. They have a super lucky Trundle Pillar, a Flash Ultimate from Braum, or a Flash Ultimate from Case. They have no hard engage.
That's the issue.
And
that's where I think, yeah, so I think that's where the issue is. So like for as far as like this draft, it's hard to think like if they fall behind early, what do they end up doing? They just slowly bleed out. They might end up losing the Baron, and then they end up just rolling over and there's nothing they can do. So you just got to think, what is it that what's going through their minds? How's their shot calling going? And what are their intentions on getting back into the game?
I can understand where they wanted to go. The poke from Ezreal and Azir, the tank shredding from Trundle, and the disengage from Braum would have allowed them to take turret after turret had they gotten ahead. But they lost tempo, lost 3 quick towers, and since then have not been able to recover and not been able to hold their ground anywhere effectively.
Yeah, it's been quite the struggle. You know, at this point, it's just basically setting up Baron, baiting it, and maybe forcing them into a fight. They have the item advantages. They have the gold advantage. So this is honestly something that you're probably going to see at Columbia as they secure yet another dragon. And this is going to be, I believe, 2 Infernals and a Mountain Dragon going over for them. So it just keeps on getting better and better.
Flash engage.
And actually, we're going to see an engage here. This is going to be really big damage coming through, and that's going to be jungler down. Baron is on the table now, so we're at a spot where if they secure this Baron, then this is where they can basically roll over the game, start knocking down, and towers start getting inhibitors, and basically just roll over them. But this is going to be a bit of a fight here. We're going to see a bit of poke damage coming out of Ezreal, seeing what he can do. Azir is also here now, so Baron is not going to be completed just yet. But we do have Fiora pushing in the bottom wave. So we're going to see if she can knock down a turret and break the base. But we're going to see all they have to do is sit here and stall. And Fiora's just going to get a free inhibitor here. I don't think there's anyone that can actually stop her. But we're just going to see. This is just the perfect setup for Columbia right now.
So last game, Dallas felt forced into a Desperation Baron at about the 28-minute mark, where they 5-manned it with Stompy split pushing by himself. This game, even though they don't have as many kills, Columbia is doing even better, forcing it for them to do a very clean 4-man Baron when Trundle was dead, making it so that was an easy, beautiful take of the inhibitor and inhibitor tower, and they just got to keep doing this. They have finished the Righteous Glory on Skarner. They can start a fight whenever they want. They are tankier and stronger in every position at this point.
Yeah, it's so hard to deal with. I mean, like, only way I see them end up winning a fight at this point is if Columbia just basically overcommits and Ezreal and Azir get to the point where they can kite out enough where they can turn it. But it's just not looking good for them whatsoever right now. It is so hard to deal with. Fiora is just taking over the game slowly, and it's just to the point where they're starting a TP up here. So it looks like they're trying to get onto the Baron. Another TP is going to come through though for Dallas, and looks like lots of pressure is around this Baron right now, but nothing has happened yet.
So something I want to point out with as a possible win condition for Dallas is Azir has 32 magic penetration at this point. There is no magic resist on Stompy. There is no magic resist on Zac. There is no magic resist on Varus. He can kill any 3 of those people in a matter of seconds.
Just as you say that, we actually do have a bit of an engage here. This is going to be Julian going extremely low here. Julian going to get taken out, and that's going to be a nice pick going over to them. But as we say that, we're going to see a TP into the base, I believe, and it looks like they might be potentially going for the end here. Going to knock down 1 turret, looking for 2 now. Ultimate's going to come through, and that's a whole bunch of damage coming through, and that's going to be John's going down. Now they have their eyes on the Nexus. This could look like the game. All they have to do is hit the Nexus. There's nothing they can do. Mundo going down, and that's it. Just like that, Columbia is going to move on. And off of one play, one pick that you thought looked good for Dallas, just costed them the game.
Stumpy, without a doubt, MVP in my mind. He created so much pressure. He outclassed his lane opponent, and there was great shot calling and synergy throughout the whole team. I do not know who their shot caller is, but good use of the tools they had and the strengths they had to finish out this game. you can see there is the cup that everybody is playing for. One of these teams will secure it by Sunday, and I hope that we can continue to do our best to broadcast for you and give you an entertaining stream. I am going to bring up the bracket. So Illinois and Columbia have progressed. We will be seeing University of California Ivan play tomorrow at about the same time versus Ottawa, and then Western versus Maryland. Thank you guys for watching. Leave comments if you have them, and have a great evening. Goodbye, everyone.